We have every Sunday and Wednesday, we have a private group that's in our course. And so that's why they're doing this, because I owe them. They have to be here to make sure that they're constantly increasing and sharpening their skills. So I don't want to take away from their time. I don't want to take away from your time. So that's why we're doing this. But we're going to be talking about Airbnb tonight. Just to be fair to everybody, we got about 2.5 minutes or so. So if you guys haven't met anybody, if you haven't met everybody, I should say, shake someone's hand that you don't know. You never know, you might be sitting next to someone who could give you a deal, right? There's a couple people here that are already doing deals, multiple deals. You just don't know who they are. So go ahead and take this time to shake a couple people's hands. I will try to remember to stay in the front. When I talk, I like to move around. So, don't curse at me too bad. Every once in a while, let me see, I'm gonna keep the chat open. Keep the chat going. Every once in a while, I'm gonna check on the chat, and I'm gonna do Q&A towards the end, and try to get to everybody's Q&A questions. We're gonna have some people here that will ask questions. A lot of times, you guys won't be able to hear their questions. I will try to my best to remember to repeat the question, so you guys can learn from it too. Okay, and just getting ready to get started here in about a minute and a half or so. Appreciate everybody being out here. Michael, what's going on? Let me see who else. Charmaine, what's cracking? Romano, what's up? What's up? Taylor, what's going on? We got a lot of phone numbers. Toya out there. She about to take it over. Cool. Big group. That's a big group. Oh, yeah, we got it. 178, something like that. Yeah. Not everybody shows up live and watches on a replay or something like that. The ones that show up that are live, they get to ask questions live. All right. My man set the alarm. He's like, man, my time is valuable. Let's get this thing going. I feel you, man. I ain't gonna hold you up any longer. All right. Once again, man, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Tommy Holt Jr. We do this live event, this meetup you guys got this, excuse the beeping noise. We do this live event every first Wednesday. So it used to be first Thursday, but we got bumped. So it's cool. But every first Wednesday of the month, we're trying to really just push this real estate thing, man. Like this thing, more millionaires are made through real estate, and it's been throughout the years. Historically, they've kept a lot of the secrets to themselves, right? And it's time for us to change that. It's time for us to let people know that you have options. You don't have to be a real estate investor, right? But you should at least know how to move and navigate in that field, because how many people here want to eventually own a house, right? Okay, so then it's probably worth your while to learn how to get into real estate at the lowest point. Makes sense, right? That's what everybody does that's wealthy. They do this house hacking thing where they get into a house at a low point that's add value, and then they sell that house. They have more money to put into the next house, and they just gradually, over the period of like 10 to 13 years, they live in a mansion that's completely paid off, right? Because they know how to buy low, they know how to find property at a low point, they know how to estimate construction costs, they know how to do some of these basic things that we're going to be talking about throughout the year, and they're able to succeed and do better for their family, and set a legacy like this gentleman was talking about with his son. They're able to do that because they took the time just to learn a skill. Right? It doesn't take a lot of time and effort, but you do have to put some work into it, right? And so we're going to be talking about real estate today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Airbnb. Now, everybody here knows what Airbnb is? Okay. you'd be surprised. There's some people I talk about Airbnb and they're like, what is that, right? So Airbnb is essentially, we got chairs for you guys. You guys will sit there too. You can be the lords of the games if you want to, right? But Airbnb is just simply someone was smart enough. They said, you know what? You know, we got people that are looking for hotels and they can't be staffed, but we got people with houses that they could, you know, rent a room with. And why don't we set up this platform and, you know, make it safe and secure and try to add a couple of features in there and rent out people's houses for money. And so a lot of people in the beginning, what they thought with I guess the misleading content that you had to own a property. Like you had to own a house in order to do Airbnb. And I thought that for a very, very long time. What's going on, Preston? I thought that for a very, very long time that you had to actually own the property in order to Airbnb the property, right? But I was sadly mistaken, okay? And I'm gonna show you guys here how that you can get into Airbnb, and you guys, how you can get into Airbnb without having to actually own the property. You get into it at a lot lower cost. And then I'm also gonna talk about how you can run that as a separate business, okay? Or you can make $2,000 to $4,000. Some people charge even more. I think $2,000 to $4,000 is a pretty reasonable amount. But some people charge as much as $10,000 to find someone else an Airbnb, right? And so I'm gonna show you guys the business model behind it. I'm first gonna show you how to find them and identify them, and then I'm gonna show you a couple of tools and tips, and then how you can turn that into a business. Make sense? All right, cool, let's get into it. All right, so everybody understands the concept of Airbnb. We go into this platform, we find a place that we're going to. I'm gonna be going to Dallas right here in in about 3 weeks. So I'm gonna look for, well, if I wasn't going to the hotel, I would look for an Airbnb. Why? Because I can get, for the price of what I'm paying to go to the venue where I'm at, which is like $230 a night, for that price, I could get a nice house, a full house, and I can invite my boys and we can split that cost up. So it makes financial sense for me to do that. They're always in demand if they're priced correctly, always in demand, right? People are always, especially most of you guys are obviously here because you're from the area, the greater Atlanta area, one of the most busiest, not from the greater Atlanta, okay. But one of the most busiest areas, airports in the world. Where this first hit me, I took a trip and I was in Miami. I went down to Miami and I rented out, I thought I was renting out a place, but I was renting out a room. And I rented out a room from this couple that was renting the space that I was in. And I said, how does that work? You don't even own this place. How are you renting this? He's like, yeah, you know, the landlord knows about it. He's cool with it. And they were literally like maybe a mile and a half away from the airport, Miami Airport, which is the largest international airport. And I said, well, how often is this place rented, right? Like how long is it, you know, how often is it vacant? And they said, listen, we're by the airport. This thing is almost always rented. Like he's like, we're surprised you were able to get this room. And so that was the very first time that I realized that I did not have to actually own the property because they were living proof. I couldn't deny that they were right there talking to me, right? Good people. And all they were trying to do was pay their rent. So them renting it, Airbnb wise, was paying for their rent. So they were essentially living rent free. Okay. So at that point I was like, all right, I need to learn how to do this thing. And so now there's some software that we're going to show you that has come out that is available that you can pay for, and it can do a lot of the stuff that I'm going to show you with just a couple clicks of a button. Okay. But before, I always like to show people like the broke side, and then when you got a little bit of money side, right? I show the broke side first, right? Because that's where I started from, the broke side. So I had to make things work, right? I didn't have access to the MLS. I didn't have access to some of the software. I just had to make it work. So I think that's pretty cool because then we can cover the whole gamut of everybody's pockets, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. You just got to have some hustle and some drive, okay? So I'm going to do here, I'm going to share my screen here. Here. So they can see it as well. Toya, can you give me a thumbs up? You can see this screen here? You there? No? Somebody give me a thumbs up. They can see the screen. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Perfect. So we're going to go here. This is a little bit in the way. All right. All right, so this is the Airbnb platform. Everybody's been on Airbnb platform before? Okay. Everybody has it downloaded on their phone? All right, if you don't have it downloaded on your phone, you can do that. It's free. Download it on your phone, play around with this thing, right? If you have it now, you can either follow along here, which is slightly different on the PC. I normally do it on the phone. I do a lot of my stuff on the phone. But you can kind of follow along with what we're doing here. Okay, so I want to start my business here in Atlanta, my Airbnb business. I need to find out how much and I don't want to buy a home. I need to find out how much the rent is going to cost versus how much Airbnbs are running for in that particular neighborhood. Okay. Once I can figure out that math, once I can figure out that algorithm, then I'm good. Then I can know whether or not this is a good business decision or a bad business decision. Okay. A lot of these things with these Airbnbs, I mean, the return on investment is ridiculous. But here is a very, very important thing. You have to get all your money back within at least 10 months. Without fail. You have to. Because you might run into a landlord who is smart enough to say, hold on, you only paying me $1,200 a month and you're making $4,000? Hold up, that don't make any sense. Yeah, I'm not renewing this lease. I'm just going to do Airbnb. Okay, so that's why you have to make all your money back within 10 months. I preferably would like to make it back within 8 months. Okay, so I say 10 months because it gives you 2 months of a little buffer. So, but if you can do it, within 10 months, then that's a go. Okay, or if you can score a lease that's longer than 1 year. Okay, because we do all our averages, we do our annual percentages based off of 12 months. Okay. So when I see a 12-month ROI of 112%, that looks really great. But if he or she doesn't renew my lease, right, that ROI is now gone. Okay, so there's a gamble that you're playing with this thing. You just gotta have to find the right landlord. Okay, so you can start one or two ways. One or two ways here. If you know, like the hot areas, like I'm telling you, like airports, somewhere close to the airport. Here in Atlanta, we have Atlantic Station. We have, Prague Street Market. We have a lot of places that we know are tourist areas. So if you know that, you can run to Zillow, type in Atlanta. Wait till this thing pops up. Hopefully the internet works pretty good. And what I want you to do is I want you to take off the for sale, take off the potential listing, and only go for rent. Okay? So we're only looking on the for rent side. Okay? Now I'm going to zoom in there a little bit. Oops. Out there. Zoom in a little bit. And if you know about where your city, you know where some of those hot neighborhoods are. In pretty much any city, one of the hot neighborhoods is going to be where? Downtown, right? That's where things are happening at. Now, knowing your market, right, you're going to know what's a high rent. You're going to know the high neighborhoods from the low neighborhoods, right? A high neighborhood here might be very, very reasonable in Beverly Hills, right? So you have to know a little bit about your market, right? Where, man, here paying $3,000 a month in rent is pretty doggone high, but in Beverly Hills, that's a steal. You see what I'm saying? So knowing your market is going to be key. So I know I can't afford, even if it's a fantastic deal, I can't get a mansion for $5,000 a month because I'm just not going to have that many people that are going to be willing to rent that place for that long. Okay, so my sweet spot, I really like to be like somewhere between that 1,200 or lower if I'm in like the East Point College Park area, right? Because I'm close to the airport. I'll be lower than that. But I'm talking about right here in like the hot areas. I'm going to be somewhere between 1,200 to 1,500, somewhere maybe around that March, that area, all the way up to about 2,000. I used to say higher, but I'm starting to see a little thing going. Starting to trend down a little bit. Okay, so now I really don't want to be any higher than 2,000. Okay, and so what I want to do, knowing my market, and I want to go ahead and get in here to any price, and I'm going to change this. I'm just going to go from about 1,000 to 2,000. Okay, so that's going to go ahead and narrow that down. Now with Airbnb, one of the big things is bedrooms. Like you get more money for a 2-bedroom than you do a 1-bedroom. You get more money for a 3-bedroom than you do for a 2-bedroom. So I want to do something. I probably want to be no less than a 2-bedroom. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that. Okay, and let's zoom in here a little bit more. I don't know when I keep clicking on. Zoom. There we go. All right. So we have some here. That's a $2,000. Let's see what this looks like. I'm just picking this one here. Hopefully it has some good pictures. Okay, so this looks like, my screen is in the way. This looks like this belongs to a company, right? What I'm specifically looking for, I'm looking for people who are owners, right? I'm looking for, I'm not looking for a big company that owns, a big building. I'm looking for a person who owns a single family residence or someone who owns a townhouse, okay? So this one would not work for me. Let's see if we can find one real quick. I'm sorry, we can do this right here. We take off apartments, take off condos, and we can leave townhomes. So here we got this one. Let's see what this one looks like, 1900. Okay. We're just gonna choose this one here. Let me see at the bottom. So this is managed by Platinum Property Management Services. That's not a big deal. That's not a problem, okay? That just means they have a property manager. So my properties, I have a property manager, but I'm not against subliving, right? And so what we want to do is we just need to get in contact with the property manager and say, hey, let's be honest. This is what I'm doing. Number one, is this thing rentable? Is it still available? Number two, do the owners have a problem with subleasing? Okay, everybody know what subleasing is? Yes. Everybody does? Okay. You guys on, in case you guys don't know here, subleasing, all we're doing is that I own the property. You come to me and say, hey, I want to rent this property, but I also want to have the ability to rent it for a little bit higher rent, all right? Or maybe I want to set up another lease with someone to rent a room because it's a 2-bedroom, I need to split this rent, okay? So I give them, that's just a box that I check or something that I put into the paperwork that gives them the ability or the authority to sublease, okay? So you have to be, if I'm going to call this number right here, I have to be honest with them, okay? I'm going to tell you what happens if you don't be honest. Someone like me will find out that you weren't honest, and now your Airbnb is shut down, and now you got a 2-bedroom house full of furniture that you're spending money on trying to, putting it in storage, and then I'm going to come and buy all that furniture for pennies on the dollar and put it into another Airbnb for my client, okay? Because you weren't honest with them, and you got to knock on the door saying that, hey, you guys aren't supposed to be subleasing.
I'm listening to that. Don't bother that, okay? Don't touch it.
Yeah, they're knocking on the door saying we're not supposed to be here, okay? So you have to. So I might call this person, and they.
Can you leave it, please?
How easy this is. The number is there, but I might call them, and they're going to say no, or they might say no, right? You might call 30 people, and they might say no to you. Don't worry about that. You just got to find the ones that say yes. So we're just going to act like this particular person wants to rent. They rent 19. They're saying it's 1900. Everybody knows here that that's not set in stone, right? We can negotiate that, right? Okay. If it's a really, really, really hot area, if this is a really, really hot area, and they're open to subleasing, or they're kind of iffy on the subleasing, and I do my numbers, I might be like, you know what? We'll pay $19.50. We'll pay more than rent. I'll pay more than what you're asking, because what's $50? Like, I'll make that up in the cleaning fee, right? So if it's something I really, really want, I will, I'll do that. So here's the thing. We got this address here. In Airbnb, you can't just type in address. Like, it's not going to give you an exact spot, right? The only way you're going to know exactly where that house is, if everybody's using Airbnb, when you check out, then you get the exact address. It will give you just a general area, and that general area could cover, a half a mile, right? It's going to show you where the house is generally at. So what I have to do here is I have to kind of figure out, because this is the poor way of doing it, right? I shouldn't say the poor way of doing it. This is the resourceful way of doing it. Thank you there, kind sir. This is the resourceful way of doing it. So it takes a little bit of work, all right? So work with me here. So I got to kind of see, when I close this here, when I hit this close, you're going to see where the property is. It's going to flash a little real quick. You'll see it was right here, right? See where the green dot is. So what I have to do here, because I'm being resourceful, is that I'm going to back out and just kind of see where some major streets are, okay? So I kind of want to see how this is where 75 kind of runs down 85. I think is that 20? That's above 20. So 78. All right, so I'm kind of getting the general area, all right, around my midtown, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go here to Airbnb. I'm going to type Atlanta. I'm just going to walk up in the front and just like we ain't talking here. And so what I want to do is I want to go to homes. Okay. And this in the way here. So for right now, I want to go to homes. I want to go to date. And let's just see. This is actually a really good time because this is like a slow season, right? We're getting ready to start to pick up. March starts to kick off. Colleges start to go into spring break, right? January, February is a really good time to start looking at your numbers because that's the slow part for Airbnb, right? Slow season, okay? So I need you guys to look at, well, first of all, I need to find where we're at. I need to find where we're at. So let's see here. There is, I need to find maps. And bear with me because this looks a little different on here than it does on back. Looking for the map. There we go. All right. So here's our map, right? Like I said before, we need to find, so I need to match up what I found on Zillow, because I need to look in that particular neighborhood. All right, so I know I'm above 20, which is right here. This map doesn't want to move. We're real laggy here. Grab it, and there we go. All right, I just need to move slower with it. All right, so we're somewhere in this neighborhood. Here's that midtown area that we saw. And what I want to do once I get kind of close into there, all right, just want to kind of double check. This is where 85 comes down. This is that 78. Going back to Zillow, this is that 70. Everybody sees where I'm at, right? So this is my house right here, okay? So now I come back to here, and I know 78 is that area. This house is somewhere right in this neighborhood, right around here, okay? So now that I'm in the general area, I want to kind of break it down. So here's the important part. So we got the map search that's looking in that general area. Now everybody knows that weekends cost a little bit more. You good? Okay. All right. Everybody knows that weekends cost a little bit more than the weekdays most of the time, right? Unless there's something very specific
All right,
happening
come on, baby.
day. So what I want to find out is my price for the weekends. If you are priced competitively, you pretty much will always have rentals for the weekends that at least cover the weekends, okay? So normally there's what, 4 weeks in a month? So 2 weekends, the weekends are for hotels are what, Friday and Saturday. You check in Friday, check Friday, Saturday, check out when? Sunday, right? Sunday doesn't count towards your weekend most of the time. It's Friday and Saturday. So all I want to do is I want to pick a weekend. And when you pick your weekend, you want to pick a weekend that you have to make sure that things aren't going on because you want to get a false reading on your price. If I pick a weekend when the Beehive is in Atlanta, it's a wrap. Like I'm gonna get this reading that's ridiculously high, right? You're gonna see that everything is locked up, everything is sold out because Beyonce's in town and everybody's charging more money. If I pick the weekend when it's Super Bowl weekend and I run all my numbers off of that, I'm gonna think, man, this place is a gold mine. This is what I'm gonna be getting every single weekend, and it's not. It's a false reading. So make sure that you're picking a weekend that nothing is really happening, okay? All right, so I'm picking this weekend right here. I'm checking in on Friday, checking out on the 10th. I'm gonna hit apply. All right, guests. I always do 2 guests. This thing's really lagging. 2, oh, now it's 3. 2 guests, okay? Apply. On home type, I do entire place for right now. Okay, you can do private room. There's another strategy where you can rent out multiple rooms, right? But right now we're going to do entire room. We're going to hit apply. For right now, the price, I really don't want to mess with the price, right? Just let it be what it be, because I don't want to manipulate anything. I want to see what the market is going to bring, okay? Instant book, if it still shows a good amount of listings, I like to click that on, okay? That means you don't have to wait for the homeowner's approval to let you rent. They're ready to go, okay? And more filters. I don't believe we got 2 bedrooms, right? Superhost. If you guys don't know what superhost is, a superhost is someone who has done very, very well in Airbnb, and they're a good standard to look at, right? If you click on superhost, again, if you have a good amount of people that are still a good amount of listings, do that. Right now, we're going to keep it off, okay?
All right. Ready, Madison?
All right. So let me move my group there, so you guys can see here. We have quite a bit of houses that are available. Okay, these are all 2 bedrooms. Okay, these are all ones that are saying they're going to take 2 people or more. These are all houses or townhouses. Okay, and so now all I need to do, because this is the general area, all I need to do is start checking to see, clicking on these and seeing, do these houses or these structures kind of similar to the one that I have here? They look like similar to this one. Doesn't necessarily have to be a townhouse, right? But I can't pick one of these Airbnbs over here, and it's a high rise overlooking the city, and they compare it to this townhouse, right? You want to use some common sense, right? So what I want to do, I like to always budget on the lower end. So I'm gonna start with this lowest one. If I can find one that's 80, I want to see what this looks like. Just run through the photos. So this is going $80 a night. Okay, it's not top end. It's not really flashy. Okay, no problem. I like that one. So I would take that and I would add that $80 to my list. So we're gonna do average of them. Okay, so you're gonna take this. You're gonna write down $80. Can someone do that? Can someone write some numbers down for me? All right. So I got this one. Let me go back to my map. Let me see this one. This one right here is $95. Let's see what this one looks like. Let me click on it and make it bigger. All right, 202 feet from Piedmont Park, private apartment, sleeps 4. So this is an apartment, it's not a townhouse. So for me, that's a plus. My place is a townhouse, or the place I'm looking at getting is a townhouse. This is an apartment, okay? Review photos. So it's time consuming here, but you just kind of want to go through it real quick, see what it looks like, okay? Not really updated, not a big deal, okay? All right, so we got this one, $95. Let's go see what a higher end looks like. Higher end one looks like. What do we got here? Yeah, I saw something like that too. Maybe this is in the way. There's a 120 right here, 151. Let's see what 151 looks like.
All right, Madison.
All right, got the nice little spiral staircase. Granite countertops. It's like a loft space. Got some TV, artwork a little bit. A lot nicer place, right? A lot nicer place.
So you could
bucket.
Play in the tub.
That definitely does something for it as well.
Yeah.
Got a little billiards room, fitness center. Okay, so does this look like my property? Not a good one for me to compare it to, right? So we're gonna obviously 151. We're not doing that.
I'm gonna get you another towel, okay?
But we do need to find a top end. We do need to find a top end. Let me check this 120. And so this is what I mean by it being a little tedious this way. Nicer, it's okay. Okay, they give you some fresh mint. That's dope. All right. Decorations, okay. It looks decent. Looks decent. That's still for mica countertops. You know, the kitchen's not completely updated. Or no, that's quartz. I'm sorry, that's not. It looks better, close to Benihana. All right, so it's okay. It's okay. That one is at 120. Where is it at location-wise? 120. How far away was that from where we're at? We're around down by that Piedmont area, right? Okay. Let's put down that 120. Let me see this 100 here. They still got the Super Bowl sign up. Nice 2-bedroom apartment in Midtown. Okay. All right. We can throw down this 100 as well. And how many do we have? Is that 4? Did we move this or something? What's that? That's 5 of them? Okay. Let me find one more. I want to find a mid-range one. So we had 8. Our low was 80. We had our high is 120. Let me find something. Did we do this 95? Yeah. I feel like we moved the map too much. I forgot where we're at. Are we right here? Right where we're 70 at? There we are. We got a 121 over here. Let me see what that one looks like real quick. No, this is a regular place. We're not gonna do that. Found a lower price one. Guys, don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. If you see something that's lower, don't say, "Oh, I'm not gonna count that one." All right. All right. Don't throw that 76 one. I think that was a little bit too small. All right. So we got, how much is it? What do we have? All right, so we got 80 plus what? 95 plus 120 plus 100. That's 4 of them, right? So all we're doing is we're taking the average. We got 395. Hold up, that doesn't sound right. 80 plus 95 plus 120 plus 100. Okay, it is right. All right, divided by 4. That gives us $98.75, $98.75. That's our average for a weekend, okay? So I'm just trying to get into a range. Now, there's things that you can do to make your Airbnb more profitable. We're gonna talk about that here in a little bit, okay? But I know that for this general area, $98.75, I should be able to get that on a weekend, on just like a regular weekend, nothing crazy going on, okay? Everybody got that, right? Sounds right, okay? So, there's how many weekends did I say that we're gonna take in consideration? 2. There's 4 weekends, and so we're charging $98.75. How many times? 2 times 4 is 8, right? So 8 days, right? So there's 8 actual billable weekend days, right? Everybody got that? So a Friday and Saturday, $98.75 per day. Okay, so that is 98.75 times 8, $790. Okay, somebody write that down for me because I will forget. All right, 790. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to change my days. And I just want to go from like a Monday to a Thursday. All right, weekdays. I want to go Monday through Thursday, and I want to see what's in that same area. All right, so let's see what the prices look like a Monday through a Thursday. So we got a low one right here. Are we still by that? Where's my, did we move again? Or is this in a way? Oh, 78 is down here, okay. So we got a 76. Let's see what it looks like real quick. Yeah, I think we can put this one down, 76. We have We got an 89 here. Two bedrooms. Okay, we'll write that one down. Let's see, where's our top end at? We got a 141, it looks like. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you guys can see up there, right? All right. So I probably wouldn't add this one. This doesn't look like, I mean, with a view like that, you can charge more, right? Let's see if we can find our next top end one. 115.
Tommy, can I ask a question?
Again, this looks like a, this is like a completely different class of home, okay? Wouldn't put that one down there. Did we already check this one, 119? Still looking for my top end. I think probably 97, maybe.
Tommy.
This one right here. From what I looked at it, from what I saw, once it loads up. You here? Don't worry about it. We good. When I saw, it looks like this is I don't know. It does say it's a duplex. I thought it was an entire house. It does. It looks very nice. Maybe we could do that 114 one. I thought it was an entire house. I thought it was an entire house. Okay. No, not that one. We got 114. Where's that? That's 85, 89. Let's do this 89 over here. That's an entire house now. We're not gonna do that one. Need to find like one more. We got what, 3 or 4? Let me find one more. This is a guest house. So you guys can see how this, if you're doing multiple properties, how long this can take, right? So I'm not planning this. This is just a house that I happen to pick. So this is exactly what I would do. If that person said yes, that they would sublease. All right, so we can use this one, all right? This is a guest house. Ours is a townhouse. So people can debate whether or not that's more private or not. That one was, what was that, 89 or 92? That was 92, okay? So what's our, what numbers do we have now?
76, 89, 92.
72 divided by 4, or $93, okay? So we're gonna take our 93, and we're gonna times our 93 times how many days? Anybody know? So that'd be nice. That means that'd be real great, right? Because that means we're 100% rented, right? But do we want to budget on the low end or the high end? Like low end, right? Because if we can win in the low end, then we can definitely win on the high end, right? If I can win in the low season, then when the summertime comes around and everything's happening in Atlanta, I know my numbers are going to be a lot higher. I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. And if you're going to be using this as a business, well, if you're doing it for someone else, you also need to take that into consideration because that's how you get repeat business, okay? If they're winning, you're winning. So at $93, what I like to bet on is having 20 days rented, 20 days rented. And if you do it right, you will have 20 days rented. If you pay attention to how you price, you'll have 20 days rented. So we already have 8. So the difference between that is what? 12. So we're going to do 12 days times 93. That's 1116. So $1,116. Okay, $1,116. And how much was our weekends? Plus how much? 790? 798? 790? Oh. So 1906. How much is our rent? Anybody remember? 1900. So, is this a good Airbnb deal for us? No, absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. So this process is what you're going to do over and over, so you can kind of see why people are going to pay you, why they're going to pay you $4,000, because it's a long, tedious process. You might call someone the house is going to be perfect for an Airbnb, right? But then they say no to subleasing, right? And you might call someone and says, yeah, you can sublease, but then the price point doesn't work, okay? So you're going to keep doing this over and over again. Sometimes you get it. Let's real quick. I found one last Friday. Perfect. The guy's, is in Smyrna. It's like, 15, not even 15 minutes. It's probably like 5 minutes from the mall, right there close to SunTrust. He told me, hey, I want $1,000 a month. It's a townhouse, it's a 2-bedroom. And he said, but I'm negotiable. So you guess you ain't, you just blew all chances of getting 1,000. I can say that much. He just wants somebody to take care of the property. He doesn't care. He's cool with subleasing, and he has 10 more properties. He said, let's just see how this one goes, and we'll show you how it works. Perfect. Okay. So sometimes you get lucky with that, right? Sometimes it takes a lot of time to call people over and over again. So you're just going to keep repeating this process over and over again until you find one that wants to allow you to sublease and that the numbers make sense. Now, what I'm looking for, if I'm going to do this property right here at 1900, then I would need to see Airbnbs bringing in on a monthly basis at least $1,400 more than that, right? Because I need to put $1,000 into their pocket, okay? And you're going to spend your rent plus about $400 to $500 in utilities, right? Because now your tenants are not paying for utilities, okay? You have to pay for those utilities. So you're paying for cable. I would probably just get internet, right? And give them a fire stick and call it a day, right? Keeping costs down, right? If the place has central air, it's in your best interest to invest into a Nest, like the digital joint you can do from your phone. You can control the thing from your phone. Because you've been to a hotel before, you don't care about no water, you don't care about no electricity. All the lights is on, turn all the lights on, we're paying for it. So they're gonna do the exact same thing to that house. They're gonna keep all the lights on, they're gonna keep the air conditioner on Arctic, right? With the windows open. And so you gotta take in consideration all that, right? Especially for the person that you're trying to find this property for. And so we're gonna take out at least $400 out of that budget, okay? Now, some people are going to want to manage their properties themselves. Some people don't. I highly suggest they find, especially if they're not really good with that stuff, to find someone to manage it for them. But that's a personal decision on that particular investor, right? So if that particular investor wants to have someone else to manage it for them, it's normally between 10 to 15%. Then we have to take that into consideration. But the reason why it's so key to have a $1,000 buffer, that $1,000 left over, is because I want them to get their money back in 10 months. And my whole goal is to try to get them into the property for about $10,000 or less. Okay, so that's getting them into the property, and getting them to a point where they can get into the furniture, have the furniture there as well. Now, people say man, that's kind of hard to do, right? I found furniture and get people fully furnished for $1,000, $1,500, right? You just got to be resourceful. So we're going to talk about that. Here's the thing that you have to know, and you guys have to know on the call as well, right? Here's what you have to know is that this property right here, let's just pick this property right here. When you look through it, this property, even though it looks great, okay, this is in the way. Okay. It looks good. We got a nice little couch. We got a TV. We got some drapes. Cool. I'm quite sure they're going to show a bed. At one point, they got a table. It's a nice table. We got a little washer and dryer, sink, kitchen. I can cook on that kitchen, right? They got a bed. They got sheets. They got a bathroom. I guarantee you, every Airbnb that we go to is going to have the exact same crap. It's going to have a bed. It's going to have a TV. It's going to have a table. It's going to have a bathroom. It's going to have a kitchen. It's going to have the same stuff, right? So there's a couple things that make them different. It's either location or experience. Okay, location or experience. And so if you have an Airbnb, and let's say you might not have the location, what you can make up for is the experience of the home. And so what I like to do is not focus so much on having, you know, a Gucci couch. I don't even know if they make Gucci couches, but not spending like, you know, an exorbitant amount of money on a couch or a bed, right? What I want to do is I want to spend it on art. What I want to do is I want to spend it on an air hockey table that I got for $75 off of Facebook Marketplace, right? Because I know I'm putting this in an area where families are going, and when you know, little Jimmy and Jane and everybody gets around the computer to pick out the Airbnb, they're gonna be like, oh, I want that one with the air hockey, because none of the other ones have air hockey, right? I want, instead of me putting a regular couch, maybe finding some love seats and then going on Facebook Marketplace and looking up a projection screen for $250. And instead of having a living room, now we have the experience of having a cinema, right? It's just those little things are what's going to stand out. So when someone just scrolls through house, couch, bed, movie theater, hold on. Hey kids, do you see the one with the movie theater? It's at the same exact price. That's what I want. That's what you want. It's the experience of being in the home. That's what draws people in there. And a friend of mine, Matt, he's phenomenal with this stuff. Like, this dude is ridiculous. Some of you guys might even seen, he was on the news when Super Bowl came, about his Airbnbs. He turned one of his Airbnbs to I could try to find it. He turned one of his Airbnbs into an arcade theme. Has anybody seen that? You saw that, right? Sick. That if you knew how much money he was making off of his Airbnbs, yeah, by Atlantic Station. Yep, correct. That dude is killing it. And he's doing like $6,000 a month, and he has like 5 Airbnbs all in Atlantic Station, right? I'll try to find it here while I'm talking here. But all he did, he went to Walmart. I don't know if you guys saw during Christmas, they had the little arcades, they only stand up about that tall. Got the little arcades, he put them on a little bench, so it sat up a little bit higher, put little stools there, and then took, you guys seen those it's almost like string lights. They come in like a tube. They're different colors, like neon red and I think it did pink and blue or something like that. And he put it around the baseboards of his house and outlined the house. So he took a photo because it's upstairs.
I'm coming.
Looking down, and it looks like you're kind of like in a pinball machine, right? Killing it. Like these always rent it. And he's always rented for more than what everybody else. You know, the townhouses, they all
Madison.
look the same. They all look the same, every single townhouse. But his is different.
Okay.
That's his experience. So when people come to that area, they want to stay in that particular townhouse, and he can rent it for more. Okay. So this, I'm not going to keep doing this until we find a winner, but this is the process. All right. Does anybody have any questions on the process? All I'm doing is basically finding a place on Zillow that I think would be in a good area where we can rent. I'm going to match that place up on Airbnb. I'm going to do 8 nights for the weekend, and I'm going to pick an arbitrary weekend that there's nothing else going on. I'm going to find the average of that. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing on my weekdays. And then I'm going to put them together and see if it makes sense. My thing is I need to have at least $1,400 or more in profit after paying the rent, because I know I got to take care of utilities. I want to put $1,000 in their pocket. You got a question?
Yes. Tax dollars that has to be right.
When I asked the owners, is it okay to be sublease? It has to be in writing. And so when we do the lease, yes, it's definitely going to be on the lease. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but when we're just making phone calls, we're making phone calls.
I'm wondering, whenever the owner signs the sublease, what are the terms? Like how's the money going?
Whenever the owner signs, I'm just repeating so they can hear you, right? So whenever the owner signs the sublease, what are the terms? So the terms are going to be just besides subleasing, it's just going to be a normal 12. Well, like I said, if you can negotiate, then great. But it's just normally a 12-month lease. Some of them you can find that are furnished, right? Because they want a sublease, they're okay with that, which is a win for you because you don't have to furnish it. But as long as they're okay with subleasing, if you're doing a commercial lease, I call it a commercial lease. As long as they're okay with doing that, then they're fine. That's it. Really nothing else. Unless they're a part of like an association or something like that. There's other things you have to make sure. But I try to typically avoid those. I try to deal with like single family residents That's one of my mom and pop. That's why I call them specifically.
Is it true that Sandy Springs is not Airbnb friendly for the most metro Atlanta area?
I don't know about Sandy Springs. To be honest with you, I've never found one in Sandy Springs, so I really couldn't. But that's his question is it true in Sandy Springs? Are they not Airbnb friendly? All that is simply a Google search, right? It's really simple, but I couldn't give you that answer right now. Let me see if let me just make sure I don't want to neglect my peoples. Someone's kid is playing in the background. Yeah, that's my kid. Just use the week. Why wouldn't you just use the weekday rates for the same properties you use to find the weekend average? Why wouldn't I use the weekday rates for the same properties used to find the weekend average? Because the weekday rates are going to be less, and I want to get a good picture of what's going on in the market, right? And if you meant to say the same properties, because I changed the dates, so those same properties might not be available. Did you use, do you rent in your name or company? So that's a good question. Do I rent in my name or the company? Remember, when you're wholesaling, is your name on the deed as the wholesaler? No, right? I'm doing this as a business where I'm finding it for someone else. So they're the ones that are actually going to be signing the lease. And so you got to tell the owner that. Say, listen, I'm not the one to sign the lease. I'm just here on behalf of that particular person. My job is to find them the right one that fits, that makes the numbers fit. That was awkward. And find a house that fits, and then I get paid from them. Okay, so that's a good question. How many days total per month do you expect to be rented? I'm looking for 20. Looking for 20. Okay. Yes.
With some of the Airbnb tragedies that you see online, do the homeowner suffer any risk with their own home insurance? The situation where the subleasing tenants, break the property.
So there is a little bit more risk on the homeowner's part because obviously they're having more than one person come in and out the house, and the people that are coming in the house, they don't know. Normally they're going to do like a background check on you to make sure you're not chopping up bodies on the weekend, right? But with subleasing, they run that risk, okay? But that's why you have to be upfront with them and let them know. And as long as they're okay with that, then whatever is going on with their insurance company, that's on them. That's on them.
So would you put it in writing that with the Airbnb coverage for the property will cover any damages? Would that be like the sub?
It could be, and I'll never say, we say Airbnb, and this is good for you guys to understand too. We say Airbnb, but we're saying Airbnb here because everybody knows what it means. But there's VRBO, there's HomeAway, there's a whole bunch of different platforms that does the same thing. Some of them are more for commercial, for like corporate people, right? And some of them are like Airbnb are just for anybody, right? But we kind of use that term just throughout it because everybody just knows what we mean. So I don't put that on the lease that it's a specific Airbnb. That's why I say I do commercial leasing. So, and I explain to them, listen, we have corporate people that come in and out. We have people that come in and sometimes they'll stay for 3 months and sometimes they'll stay for a day. And that's how I explain it to them. As far as Airbnb, they said they do cover for damages. That's what he's saying. He's making a point here.
And the reason why I asked because I have that was one of the.
Oh, is that what you're asking? Okay, yes, Airbnb does have it. Someone else asked, should you have renter's insurance? Again, if it's me, I'm having renter's insurance. Renter's insurance is cheap. It's cheap, Yeah, so why not? All right, so that was the resourceful way of doing that. Now, I'm going to show you guys a little shortcut. Let me go back to make sure I can share my screen so my peoples can see. Where did I put it at? All right. So What's going on? How you doing? I think we got some chairs over there. Yeah, you just bust them out. All right. So, has anybody heard of AirDNA?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. So AirDNA is a platform where all that stuff I showed you, if you just pay $40 a month, just rip it up, right? Right. You don't have to worry about it. It gives you a lot more detail into that particular area and what the market is bringing. It keeps an eye on trends. It keeps an eye on what's coming. It does a lot of stuff, more stuff than I actually really know how to use, right? Very, very good platform. Thing is, right now I got pulled up in Smyrna. It's basically showing you that it's a B plus as far as a market. All right, this is a pretty good market. All right, I'll give you right here. You guys can see, I don't know how bright that is. Rental demand, they give it a score of 76. Revenue and growth, 100. Seasonality, yes, 57. We have the Braves Stadium, right? When the Braves are having games, and we're gonna have more people flying in and out. It's not like I don't even know what like down where the Atlanta Hawks play at, right? Where there's the ice capades that come there when they're not playing basketball. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens, right? Where the baseball season is pretty much the baseball field, right? So it does have some seasonality that goes along with it. Here are average daily rates, okay? February 101, January was 180, all right? Like I said, February is a low point, right? The only thing really popping in February is Valentine's Day. And most people, you know, they just trying to, never mind, we're gonna talk about that later. So occupancy rate, as we can see here, from June, it was at 75%, down to December, 41%. This is directly correlating with that that seasonality, right? You can see in the summertime, it's a lot higher, okay? So let's look at our pricing. Entire home, they're saying on average, $180 a night, okay? So it's $180 a night. So the Airbnb, Zion, you can find a place there that's a lot cheaper, right? So if you know that in Smyrna, Georgia, you can get an Airbnb and your average home price for this month is going to be $180. That makes it a lot easier, right? Because we're not paying the Atlanta prices, right? So a lot of people, they want to be in Atlanta and they want to be around that hot market, but you also got to understand you're going to be paying more money a month in rent, okay? And so at $180, I could find a place, I could find a townhome for $1,000, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, like the one I found for $1,000. So man, if I can rent that thing, just off of, let me see, just off of my my weekends, 8 times, 8. Somebody already figured it out by now. 1440 right there, just off my weekends, right? So if I find a place for $1,000, or which the one I found for $1,000, 1440 I'm already covering my rent plus the extra 400 that I'm going to spend on utilities, okay? Just off of this. I don't have to do half of that extra crap that I'm doing, right? Now we can also zoom in closer. What is going on, man? Why are you right behind me?
Tommy, when you get a property like that, do you find yourself going more on the experience side since you're kind of getting away from something hot?
Oh, no, you're going to do the experience side anyway. You're going to do the experience side anyway. Now stand right behind you. Let's go sit down over there, man. Yeah, so you're going to do the experience side anyway because it's cheaper. It's literally cheaper, right? You don't have to, like, no one cares about the couch from, you know, unless you're probably gonna get from IKEA anyway, right? Go on Facebook Marketplace. I love Facebook Marketplace. OfferUp, Let Go, Craigslist. Man, if you knew how much stuff I bought from Goodwill, ridiculous, right? Couches in there. Couches are going for $40. You go into Walmart and you put those nice, clean, white couch covers, and this is design and stuff. So, but a lot of times, fellas, we have a hard time doing the whole designing thing. Ladies, please have a seat. Gentlemen, if you guys can help them out, please get them a seat, please. You throw on the nice pillows. You know what I'm talking about, ladies, right? The nice, like the couch pillows. Man, you take that photo. What are we buying off of Airbnb? We're buying a photo. right? Like that's what they're looking at when they decide whether or not they're going to go there. A photo and whether or not you have a good review, obviously. But that's what they're buying. So a nice, crisp white couch with, a little seat with the nice pillows on there. You show a little close-up picture of the mitten bowl. That's the only nice thing in the house, right? Like those photos sell people. And then you throw in a movie theater or an air hockey table, or if you got enough space, a pool table or a dartboard, a little, not the real dart ones, like the mechanic, the metal joints, right? That's not gonna mess up your wall. Throw a picture of a nice piece of art, right? It's going to rent, right? So you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on the furniture, spend money on the experiences, always. So we're going to zoom, we can kind of zoom in closer to here. It just shows so much data. If you have a private room, it's going to be $54. Shared room. So if you guys, have everybody traveled abroad and stayed in like a hospice, right? Like you go into a room and it's like 80 of y'all. You're like, okay, what's happening here? Like bunk beds everywhere. So there's Airbnbs that's how they do it. They will literally charge you kind of like as a shared room. Like you go into a room and there might be 4 or 5 other people in there. Okay. So for this particular neighborhood, I don't know why you do that. You might as well just spend $7 more and get a private room at least. But this particular neighborhood, these are ones that are shared rooms going for $47. All right. So let's look at occupancy rate. 42%. This is, again, this is the beginning of March. We're getting ready to start picking up. Booking lead time. What that means is 36 days in advance. A lot of these people are booking 36 days in advance, right? Book properties, 256. Seasonality. I can't say that word. All right. So here we go. We got in February. I'm sorry, I went the wrong month. We got March. It's getting a little bit better. These are good months, right? So we move down. We want to start to see better and better, right? So these are the times that the occupancy rates are high and low, right? So you can just kind of get an idea for your market, and all you got to do is pay $39 if you got it, right? Revenue, 1971, entire homes, 538 for private rooms. All right, shared rooms. All right, you got 374. So all that stuff that you're doing, all that stuff that we were doing earlier, you can kind of do through this app or through this website. So we have this one section right here is top properties. Okay, so you can see annual revenue, $65,000. All right, it's a luxury lake house with a hot tub. Hot tubs are hot, man, but there's a liability with that. You got this one, $63,000. 5-star home close to downtown Atlanta is 56. So if you want to compare yourself to the best and see what they're doing and just try to mimic that, right? So this is a good indicator of what your property can bring. You got one down here, great location, 4-bedroom, newly furnished, $33,000. So this is a good indicator of what your house can bring. So if you're paying, like in my case, $1,000 a month for a property, but let's say I can make $15,000 for the year. Okay, I make $15,000. So this one right here, this top property, this is the lowest top property, made $33,256. Okay, so if I can do less than half of that, right? I'm paying $1,000 a month, so that's $12,000, right? But I'll do 15 in the year. So I get my money back. So I invested into the property. I get my investment because I'm trying to stay within what, $10,000, right? So I get my investment back and I make an extra $5K, right? Now at least I got my investment back. And now when I go anything past month 10 is all pure profit to me. So if I can negotiate another year's lease, man, I'm golden, right? And keep that person happy. Keep that landlord happy so they will rent to you over and over again. A lot of the landlords that the guy who rented to me, an Asian guy, he's like, man, all I want you to do is just pay the rent, and like he's long term. He's like, I just want you to pay the rent and take care of it so my house eventually gets paid off. That's all he wants. He has 10 properties. He said, you do this one right, I got 10 more, right? And I will let you have, like, as they rotate out, we'll rotate you in. Just treating the person right? And just show that you know what you're doing. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? No questions? Anybody have any questions here? Let me make sure. Somebody knocked on. Can someone put the chat what Tommy said about whose name gets put on the sublease? So whose name gets put on the sublease is the actual person who's, so there's a lease, and you were saying that the sublease is the agreement between you and whoever's coming to your property, the Airbnb client. But you want, on the lease, you want the ability to sublease, okay? And that's gonna be, if you're running this as a business, if you're like charging people for this, that's gonna be your client. So let's just say, I'm just gonna pick someone, who said that? So Jared, so let's say you're my client. You're gonna pay me $4,000 to find a property for you. Your name is gonna be on the lease with, and in that lease is going to be the ability to sublease. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, this recording will be available. All right, any questions? Any questions on how to do this? No, nope, all right, cool. So, oh, you do? Okay, so you're my client, all right? He has a house that he wants to rent. I'm gonna work for you. I'll tell you up front, listen, I'm finding your Airbnb. I'm gonna make sure that it works for you. I'm gonna help you, with some of the furnishing stuff. I'm gonna give you the ideas that you need to do to make it successful. I'm gonna do all the work. You're gonna pay me $4,000 to do this, all right? You pay me $4,000, I'll turn you over to this particular person that I found, that I know whose property works, okay? And then you are going to sign the lease with him, okay? Because you're the person who's leasing. What my job is to find a business for you, because that's essentially what you're renting. You're renting from him, not just a house. You're renting a business, right? So that's the way you kind of have to look at it. So my job is to find that business for you. That make sense? Okay, cool. So turning this into a business. This is simple, guys. This is so much easier than wholesaling. This is so much easier than wholesaling, because when you looked on Zillow, did you have to skip trace anybody? No, the number's there, right? The number's there. The people, do they not want to be called, or do they want to be called? They want to be called because they want their place rented. The only thing that they have to do is decide whether or not they're going to sublease with you or not. So if you learn how to do this and you have the ability, the time and the skill set to do this, you can consistently find, there's people out there. Airbnb is so hot right now. It's ridiculously hot. There's investors that are looking because they say, listen, I could buy this property, spend $100-something thousand on this thing, get it, buy it, put it in my name, and then rent it. And then I'm responsible for the roof if it leaks. I'm responsible for the hot water heater, the air conditioner, or I could just rent it from someone and let my tenants pay for the rent and put money in my pocket. And if you have a really, really decent profit margin, I would just say, let someone manage it for you. And then you're not even doing any of the work at this point, right? You were just smart enough to see the opportunity and invest into it. And that's really what like investing is really about. Like not going out there and trying to being the person who's, cleaning the towels and the sheets. Like that's not what you want to do with your life. Being able to have the foresight to see that, okay, this is an investment. I can sink about $10,000 into this and then make $100-something return on investment. And let me show you how you can figure that out. Anybody know how to figure out the ROI? No? Okay, cool. So let's just say this particular property, if you guys want to break out your calculators, you can do this and work with me. I'm just going to literally make up some numbers out of the top of my head, just off of some numbers that we've done before. So let's just say this place is going for $1,000 a month. Okay, so we know that annually, because we know when we're doing this, ROI is based off of what? Annual, right? It's not based off of the month. So we're based off of the annual. So we already know $1,000 a month times 12. We only do a calculator for that. That's $12,000. Sorry, that's $12,000. Okay. So that's going to be how much we're paying yearly in rent. Okay. We also have to understand how much is our monthly rent, which obviously is $1,000. Now, if we find a place, they normally always budget for first and security, right? So we're going to say that this landlord is going to require that we pay a first and security. So that's going to be $2,000. Okay. Excuse me. So they're going to require $2,000 up front. Now, you're also going to need, sometimes you got to get a deposit to turn your cable on, or you know, depending on where you're at, your electricity, your water, like some of those things. So we're going to add that cost into it. All right. And so we're going to add about $300, about $300 into that. Okay. So we're at $2,300. Now we got to buy furniture. Okay. Now, so again, I'm trying to keep my investor within $10,000, right? So if I can do that, then I have a good chance of making some decent money, okay? So if I'm at 2,300, I know for a fact that if I'm patient enough and I really scour, like make it my job to look on Facebook Marketplace, you know, all those places we already talked about, right? I can get a whole house furnished for definitely under 2,000, but sometimes under 1,500. Okay, so let's just say we're gonna add another 2,000 onto it. All right, so we're at 4,300. Okay, so we're at 4,300. Now, I need to make sure that I get paid, right? Because I'm doing some work. So let's say I don't want to be too greedy, right? Let's say I want to add $3,000 onto this. Okay, 7,300. We're at $7,300 for them to get into this property. Okay. Now, I know there's some other things that sometimes things come up that you don't account for. You also want to have some money for reserves. Let's say you add another $1,000 into that for reserves. So we're at 8,300. So to get into a property and have a little bit of reserves, pay me $3,000, furnish it, okay, and pay first and security. We're at $8,300. That's your all-in price. Okay, that's what's coming out of your savings account, your 401k, your pension. That's what you're borrowing from. Okay, so we get into this place. Time is of the essence because as soon as we sign that lease with them, we're on the clock, right? So we got to get this thing together. We got to get it going, right? Hopefully, it doesn't require too much work, right? If it does, then we have to also factor that into the cost. So if I go in there and I have to repaint because he didn't, then we have to factor that in the cost. We're gonna for this point, I'm really just picturing the house we have in Smyrna. We don't have to do any of that. He took care of that stuff. So we're in it for 8,300. So if we meet our number, if my rent is 1,000, right? My rent is 1,000. What do I need to bring in? What do I like to bring in on Airbnb to make it make sense? Well, I need to be $1,400 more than the rent. So a total of $2,400. Okay. So we got 8,300 to get in. And we're spending, $8,300 again. We're making another $1,400 per month. Okay, so you can either add 2,400 or take 2,400 and times it times 12, or you can just take your profits, right? And then you guys understand that? I can either take 2,400 times 12, and then I have to subtract my rent, okay? Or I can just take my net earnings, right? So I'm gonna do 1,400 times 12. I'm at $16,800. Okay. So what was his all in? 83, right? So 8,300 divided by 16,000, what was it? $800, 16,008? Is that what it was? 80, I messed it up. 8,300 divided by 16,8. So we got to move that decimal place over 2 spots. We're at 49.4%. So we spent $8,300 and we made 16.8. Does that sound like a good deal? That's not right. 849 should be more than that. Unless I'm putting something wrong here. 16.8. That's what it's coming out to. So we spent $8,300, but we made, over the course of the year, we made 16. Does that sound like it was a pretty good deal for us? It's a pretty good deal for us, right? All right. Do you have a contract for the group for that to be printed? So the question was, do we have a contract for this? So all you're going to do is just a standard lease agreement, and then some of them will have a box to check off for sublease, or you can, if they allow it, or if there's a section for it in the amendments or the addendum, you can go ahead and write sublease. All right, so that wraps up this so far. Anybody have any questions? Any other questions on the call here? No. You do have a question? Correct. How do people find me? The most of the people that I deal with, they either were referred to me or through social media. One of those two members, yeah. I have there's a captain in the Air Force that he lives in South Carolina. He has property here, and he was referred to me. And he wants me to find him 10 Airbnbs this year. And then there's a football player that also wants me to find him as many Airbnbs I can personally possibly find him, right? So we're just people that come to you. There's people in this group that have reached out and said that they want to find Airbnbs. So once you start putting it out there, then people will know. You can just say, hey, I'm doing this Airbnb thing, right? If anybody wants an Airbnb, let me know. Yeah, good question. It's marketing yourself, right? Any other thing? Anybody got other questions? Any other questions? So that's actually really good. So no, I'm not managing it. If I'm managing it, then I have to add that 10% into it. Okay. But so how do we get paid? That's a really good point, because when we wholesale something, everything's done at the closing table. Okay. So what I do is I don't give them the general. I don't give them the exact address. I give them the general area. Okay. And now with AirDNA, I can just print out a whole bunch of data that they'll probably just get overwhelmed with, and I'll just point out the important parts. But if you're doing it the resourceful way, right, you're gonna bring all that data, you can put it into a spreadsheet, show them these are the numbers, okay, and this is the general area. Is this something that you want? They'll say yes or no. We'll let them, I'll send them pictures. Make sure you guys take some really, really good pictures and video, all right? Take at least 2 pictures per room, and then do a video walkthrough. When you do the pictures in the video walkthrough, make sure that you don't show the address or the street, because then they'll know. They could go around you. Like, but if you sell, like, I've never had, like, the people that I deal with, that doesn't happen, right? But you got to protect yourself, especially if you don't know the person. So if you don't know the person, then don't give them the exact address, right? Just let them know, hey, this is the area, this is the general area, and they'll know. They'll be able to do some research for themselves. If they're investors, they'll do some research for themselves. And then once that's done, before that, listen, when we go to this house, I need to have a check written for $4,000, okay? Or a certified check if you don't trust them, right? For $4,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever you decide to charge. And when you take them there, because you're gonna go with them to meet this person, because at this point, they're sold. All they need to do is just make sure and verify that this is the real place that they saw in pictures, and sign the lease. So all that's gonna take place simultaneously. No, they're paying for it. I might help them with it. I might point them in the right direction, but I really don't want to be out there, going there furniture shopping, right? So I will help them with that stuff. Another good point when it comes to furniture, like I said before, there's some people that do Airbnb and they don't do it the right way, and the next thing you know, they get kicked out of their Airbnb and they got to sell the entire place for really cheap. Okay, so when you look for entire apartment or entire home furnishings, right? A lot of times you'll find that, especially if you type it in Craigslist. A lot of people that's will put their stuff on Craigslist. They got their whole house for sale. That's a telltale sign, right? All right, anything else? We're gonna wrap it up here if we don't have anything else.
I'm just curious. Do you ever use like estate sales to furnish?
I haven't, but that's a good resourceful way of doing it. Is that do we ever use estate sales to furnish? I haven't, but that's a good way of doing it for sure. If you can get it for a good price. The key is just to get it for a good price. It doesn't matter where you get it from, besides stealing it, right? No matter where you get it from, just make sure it's for a good price. Some of y'all was like, yeah, I was gonna steal it. Look at you over there. I know you're a little thug over there. All right, cool. Guys, I'm gonna get with you guys here in a little bit. Is it bad to do everything in your name without a client? Is it bad to do everything in your name without a client? Does Airbnb charge a fee? Yes, the Airbnb does charge a fee, but they charge it to the person who's renting. They don't charge it to you. Is it a bad idea to do everything in your name without a client? No, you want to let the person know. These are all good questions. These are all the things that you don't realize until you're standing in front of a seller or a potential landlord. You want to be honest with the landlord and let them know that you're subleasing, but you're not even the one that's actually subleasing. The last thing you want to do is for them to be surprised. You tell them that up front, right? You tell them that up front, then they're good. But they might have been good with it, but because now they feel like you kind of was trying to backdoor them and sneak around and you weren't being truthful. Now all of a sudden you're a little more shady, right? So tell them up front that, hey, I'm working on behalf of a client. My job is to find. It also makes you sound a little more like there's a process, like there is a process, but it sounds like it's a little more standardized, right? Like, listen, my job, I get paid by people to find them Airbnbs. Like, wow, they don't even know that. Most of them don't even know that it's possible, right? So what's that? I can't hear you. I'm just a real estate investor. No, I label myself as a real estate investor. I tell them, hey, I do a couple. If they ask, like I tell them, I do a couple different things. One of the things that I do is I help clients find. I keep saying Airbnb, but I help clients find commercial leasing property that we can lease commercially for profit.
You sometimes tie that into like a wholesale situation where property is sitting.
Do we sometimes tie that into a wholesale situation? Well, I'm wholesaling because I make a lot more money than that. So no, not really. If I'm a wholesale it, then I'm a wholesale it, and then if you're the one buying it from me, whatever you want to do is on you. Now you own the property, right? So if you own the property, you can do whatever you want to do. Yes.
Whenever you lock up a property for an Airbnb, you ever consider this option?
Whenever I lock up the property for Airbnb, do we ever decide to do a lease option? So myself, my property, I did a lease option with. But you got to be careful. Everybody know what a lease option is, correct? Yes, no, yes. Okay. Everybody heard of rent-to-own programs? Okay. So it's kind of like the same. Well, it is the same thing. You are leasing, but you pay an option price. So you pay an option price to be able to purchase the property at a later date. Normally that's a year, sometimes it's up as far as 2 years, okay? The problem with this, the reason why people do this, I'm doing a subject to property right now. The lady's going to subject to the property and then lease option it, right? Because she knows that the average lease option is going to go through that process about 3 to 4 times, right? So understanding what a lease option is and what it entails is important. So as I lease option a property, what happens is you come to me and you say, hey, you know what? My credit is kind of, but I got a good job and I got about $20,000 to put down on a house, but you know, I can't really get a loan. I can't really get a mortgage on this thing. So I say, all right, no problem. We'll lease option it for you. For $10,000, you can purchase the option to buy this house. Now, that means you got first right of refusal, okay? And if you decide to buy this house at the end of your lease, which is normally 12 months, we'll take $10,000 off of the purchase price, okay? The problem is this. Most people don't fix their credit within a year. So if you get into that, unless you really hammering at your credit, in 12 months, let's be honest, is your credit really gonna be that much different? It could be if you get with the right people, but if you don't, most of the time, your credit is exactly the same. So because of that fact, they know that going into it. And so they know that, man, at the end of the year, appreciate you, that $10,000 is gone because it only is applied if you purchase the property, right? So it's just the option to buy the property. In order to have that option, you have to pay me $10,000. So for someone who gets into a lease option like this property she's going to get into, she's probably going to be all in it for a little on 97, and she's going to do some paint and carpet and stuff like that. She'll be in it for about $15,000, $16,000 when it's all said and done. But she's going to get $10,000 from someone to get into it up front, and then they're going to rent it for the whole year. And typically, when someone does that, when they spend $10,000, they're not treating it like a normal renter. They're taking care of the property a little more. You know, they're not letting the kids punch. They're thinking they get mad. They're about to punch a hole through the wall. They think twice about it because, like, man, I'm about to buy this house, right? I got to fix this thing. So they typically take care of the property a little bit better. So knowing that, you have to be smart. So the lease option that I did when I worked it is that I locked in all my equity, right? I did a 3-year. So I just negotiated with the guy. I negotiated with the guy and I said, listen, I want to do this. Right now, it doesn't make sense for me to wholesale it. It doesn't make sense for me to buy it or flip it. The mortgage on it was 106. It was owed on it. It was 106. The house is it's a townhouse. The townhouse is going for about 125 to 130, depending on how nice they are. Right? There's really not that much profit right there once you take in consideration real estate fees and closing costs and all those other things. So I was like, you know what? I'd like to explore a lease option. You want to stop paying this mortgage? I'm going to Airbnb this thing, and because of the neighborhood, I know I can make some money on this thing. He said, I don't care what you do as long as you're paying the mortgage, right? Mortgage is $950 a month. So we signed a contract, and I told him, listen, I just want to make sure that the equity that's in this house, when I buy this property, the equity, I'm not paying, you know, the price of whatever it is in, you know, 3 years from now. I want to lock up the equity. I want all the equity that's in the home. So as I pay this mortgage down, as it goes down from 106 in 3 years, it'll be somewhere in the low 90s. Once it does that, that's the price I want to pay. All right. So that's how I worded it to him. So what does that really mean? What does that really mean? So that means if I can buy that property in 3 years at, let's say, $92,000, I control the equity. But I also have the option to sell the house tomorrow. Who paid the when he got the mortgage at 130 to 103, 106? Who paid all that? He did. So all that equity now belongs to me, right? He doesn't have access to that equity. He lost all of that when he signed that contract. Okay. So if you're going to do it, you just got to do it smart, right? Make sure that you lock the equity up, and you know, on your end, you know, you're protected on your end. Good question though. That's it. Anybody else? All right, cool. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys coming out. Hope you guys learned something. Anybody has something they can take away from this? A couple of different things, couple little, right? All right, perfect. We're doing this again every first Wednesday of the month, I think until like June or July. Then I think we go back to the first Thursday. But every time we try to bring out something new. So this is what I want to do. This is the first time I actually did this. I want to kind of leave it up to you guys. Sometimes, most of the time, I bring someone else up here and they talk about a specific topic. But I want to leave it up to you guys. What would you guys like to hear about next month? What is something that you guys like you really want to know about? Wholesaling. Specifically, but what part of wholesaling? Everything. That'd be a long day. That'd be a long day. Virtual wholesaling. So I heard virtual wholesaling.
I would like to know, like, kind of how to negotiate with sellers that are
Ooh,
like
that's a good one.
real stubborn.
That's a good one. You got a gun? A lot of people.
I had it just literally like a couple of hours ago, like my neighbor was on my window. She was like really.
She really what?
Like, I completely blew me. Like, I just couldn't understand how you would just get this magic number.
Yeah. 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 So
she just couldn't get over the fact that that was your loan. You decided to pay for your house 3 times. So
yeah.
not having anything to do with the value of your house.
So we always want to try to, never want to try to sell, we want to educate, right? So sometimes you try to educate people, and just like in school, some of them ain't never gonna learn, right? And they'll sit in the market forever. And what you do is just every month, just reach out to them. Hey, Mr. Johnson, just check and see if your house is still available. You know, I'm still here. I'd love to buy it from you. And she'll eventually either tell you to stop calling or get tired of it and just say, okay, yeah, you're right. This is too much. You know, this is a long game. There's some houses that I'm working on. That I've been working on, like the strategy I use when I go to tax auctions. I let them get sold for tax auction, and then because I know and hear that we have a right of redemption period of, you know, a year and a day, I'll let them go Yeah, go ahead, everybody bid. Go ahead, bid. Great. And every month you're gonna get a postcard from me. Hey, you couldn't pay your taxes for 5 years. Now you got $50,000 in that you owe plus 20%, and you got a year and a day to do it. I don't think you're gonna get this off. You can try. I'll send you another postcard next month. I'll call you, and in about month 10, you're like, oh man, you know what? That Tommy dude, he did tell me this. I'm about to lose this house and get nothing. So some of the games are long games, right? But once you get through it, then you got deals that are coming in month after month after month because you went to the auction or you went to the tax sale month after month after month, right? So sometimes you just got to play the long game. Subject to and pre-foreclosures. Okay, cool.
Tax options and also
Tax auctions as funding sources. Okay, yeah, we actually brought a guy in that did funding. Yeah, we actually had a guy like 2 months ago that came in that did that talked about funding and how it worked and everything. But you know, it's a good thing. Some people weren't here for it, so all right. Master lease on multifamily homes. Okay.
I'd like to know about foreclosures, wholesaling foreclosures,
Okay. Foreclosures. All right.
probate.
Probate. All right. So I'm not writing this down because this is recording right here. So I'm gonna have to go back and try to kind of get a consensus of where we want to go at. There's a lot of stuff, and I never heard anybody say the same thing. Like, so I'm trying to. We're gonna have to figure out something. We'll figure out something. A lot of people who are wholesaling, a big portion of the wholesaling puzzle is being able to properly find the ARV, right? So I had thought about bringing an appraiser in as well to show you what through an appraiser's eyes, how do they get that number, so that you can tell, you know, Mrs. Johnson that her house isn't worth 180. Let me show you why. So we'll see. We'll go through this and see what we can do. Definitely pre-foreclosures and probate. All right, cool. All right, I think we'll wrap this one up. Seeing everybody getting antsy. Oh, there he is. You good, Z? All right, man, love you. All right, cool, brother. So we're gonna wrap this one up. We're gonna turn some music on. We got some games here. Use this time to mingle. Like I said, there's people in here that are doing real estate deals that you might want to know. Okay, you might want to get their information. There's some people that here that might be buying, that I know are buyers. And there's some people in here that I know are wholesalers. So use this time to get their information, get a business card, maybe beat them in Connect 4 or Uno or something like that, and build a bond. And then let's have some fun. All right? Appreciate you guys. Love you guys, man. All right, fellas. Family. I see you got your little one too there. Gunny, okay. What's up? What's up?
I'm going to go ahead and say what's up, my brother. I went with the greatest form.
Let me just, hey guys, I'm gonna stop the recording, man. I appreciate you guys hopping on the call, and hope we provided some value. And we will put this recording on the private Facebook group as soon as Zoom sends it to me. Sometimes it takes about a day. Okay. All right. Hope you guys have a blessed one, man. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.